Welcome in, everybody. This is Dynasty Mode, the unofficial EA Sports college football game podcast. My name is Arky Shea. That is Demetri Ravanos. Demetri, it's so good to see you and talk to you again, my friend.
Arky Shea, it has been too long, nigh upon a fortnight since you and I have been face-to-face digitally.
Yes. Well, you are technically telling people we recorded 2 episodes 2 weeks ago.
That's right.
You are a madman.
I like to bring people behind the curtain.
You know what? I appreciate you bringing people behind the curtain. A curtain they didn't even know existed.
Nope.
Considering we were technically in different clothing and no one would have ever known had you not said anything.
That's very true. Yeah, that's true. And now here is another surprise for you all. This episode was recorded in 1996.
That's right. I don't know if you knew this, but we are about to talk about Britney Spears breaking onto the scene in a huge way.
Actually, in 96, we'd be like, oh, there's this girl who used to be a Mouseketeer. I think she's going to be huge.
Well, she was.
Yeah.
She was very huge. And now she's huge again because, you know, she's got freedom. And so she's just naked on Instagram all the time.
It's just the best Instagram account.
Yeah, well, someone should know, and I'm glad it's you.
Yeah.
Okay, so before we get to it, Demetri, I have so this podcast, this particular episode, which was recorded in 1996, is all about celebrations in the new college football video game whenever that comes out. Because there was a story that came out that was pretty recent that was surrounding a particular near tragic event, very scary event. That sort of jolted my mind to start thinking about this over the last couple of weeks. But first, before we get into that, Demetri, I have a surprise for you.
Oh, okay. I'm excited.
I have a surprise video for you. Okay. So now I'm going to play this video for you. It's about 2.5 minutes long. But what I want you to, mainly I'm just trying to get content, right?
Sure.
No, but this video was sent to us by our man T. Christian, who listens to the podcast, watches the podcast on YouTube. Big fan, trying to get your PS3 figured out for college football revamp if you'll ever answer his DMs.
Yeah, no, I don't do that.
Yeah, that's a good point. But he sent me a video that came up just this past weekend, and we'll know whether or not it's 1996 or 2023.
Okay.
Real soon. And it features one Deion Sanders.
Oh.
And I'm not sure if you've heard of him. He is a former college football player turned NFL analyst.
Has he done anything else?
I can't think of much.
The Barstool guy, right?
Yeah, I think he's got a podcast or a YouTube show, something to that effect, right? So what was posted recently was on. I want to make sure I give them credit for their account name because that could be a copyright issue. Well Off Media, which is the group in the YouTube channel that follows Deion Sanders and his exploits around college football as a head coach now at the University of Colorado or Colorado University, I think it is. But
I think that's correct.
So now that he's a Buffalo, he had an interesting trip this past weekend, and it's already up on the internets. Demetri, I'm going to play for you this trip, and there's some fallout from it that's very important to us in this game. You ready?
I'm ready.
All right, let me find the clip, and here we go. Coach Prime.
He can say he's at EA. He can't say exactly what it is yet. Cool. I'm working on a project with EA. Perfect. In a lab with EA. Perfect. More to come soon. Awesome. Kind of thing. Cool.
Sorry.
Oh, God. Girls up. Come in, zip this up. Look at that on his shoes tomorrow. Oh, I think they're trying to look at this. Screen, yeah.
Together and flat, and then bring this arm a little down a little bit. Perfect. And then you're gonna look straight ahead. Go, and then if you could do this foot a little straighter, with their toe in a little bit. That's perfect. All right, and hands up. Perfect. Okay, let's go ahead and roll.
Ladies and gentlemen, pay attention to what you're asking. Because sometimes when you get busy, things get monotonous.
This is a valuable lesson.
And you agree to things that you didn't think was going to be like they are. And you find yourself in an outfit like this.
Sometimes you got to listen to a good man.
Let me tell you guys something. Kids these days underestimate the sacrifices that we all make. I just want you to understand, right now, I'm a living sacrifice for my kids. If you ever don't appreciate anything I do, Sanders 5, I'm taking it all back. Come to think of it, I'm taking it back anyway, because y'all don't appreciate that. Y'all don't appreciate that. Look how you got your daddy. Look at what your daddy is willing to do for y'all.
Okay, so for those who don't have the YouTube version, he was at Electronic Arts Studio in Los Angeles.
Wait a minute, Arky Shay, those are the manufacturers of our beloved college video game.
Oh, no.
I mean...
Is that what you're... Hold on.
I don't want to connect dots that may not be there, but Electronic Arts, you said?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm positive they manufacture the video game that you and I spend roughly an hour each week discussing.
Okay,
on microphone, not taking into account the number of DMs we send each other.
Okay, but they also do FIFA, right?
They do. They have a number of sports products, but if I'm thinking about Deion Sanders, I mean, he is a coach of a football team, an American tackle football team, at a American Institute of Higher Learning.
I feel like you're leaving out a lot of European possibilities.
I mean, I guess this could be, what is it called? The European Super League of Football, whatever that weird spring, like, hey, I know you're a bartender back home, but come here and be a star quarterback league that they have like in Norway.
Yeah.
I guess it's a possibility, but Arky Shay, dare I say that what we just saw was motion capture indication that real coaches are going to be in this game?
No, because that's not confirmed. Okay, they were on camera talking to EA, getting the response that they cannot say what it's about. So it's probably not that. Let me tell you this. Okay, so that's the biggest reason I want to bring this up. One, how cool is it that like Deion is cool enough to be able to just allow this to happen? Like EA is like, okay, like you're filming this, just don't say which game it is. That's
right.
But it also gives us something like this is news. Like this seems to be news because unless Madden is introducing like an older version of Deion into the game,
right,
because he's being currently motion captured, not 1994 motion capture. He's motion capture right now. This has to mean to me, and unless there's like a Nick Saban Aflac Duck commercial that is all about this happening in this video game with it, because we didn't see a duck.
That would be the next level of realism, right? Like we are, whether you want them or not, there are commercials in this game now.
That's true, right? This has to mean that we're finally going to get real coaches in the game, right?
I mean, the only other thing I could think of, you mentioned Madden as a possibility, because let's not overlook the fact that that's being done in LA, not Florida, where most of the college game production happens. I guess it's possible that there is some sort of like NFL legends thing coming to Madden where like they're going to comment on plays. Like that is totally a possibility. But I don't know, man. Like, I think if this were something that was coming to Madden, they would let him say working on a surprise for a future edition of Madden or working on Madden or something like that. Like Madden is a big enough brand that I would think EA Sports would be cool with letting you say the word Madden.
I 100% agree with that. But also, Deion, at the end of that, you hear him talking about, this is what I do for my kids, my kids, my kids. I don't think he just means children. Like,
right.
Well, first, one of his children happens to be playing quarterback for Colorado.
Yeah.
So I think when he means kids, I think he means recruits, current players, and to be a part of the game, right, would be an extraordinary recruiting tool and a really cool thing to say, hey, this is what I do for you kids. Okay, you kids want me in the game, I'm going to be in this game. Because Deion's got like 4 toes right now, okay?
Right.
So, like, you're not going to get a whole lot from him other than sort of walking around and getting the clapping, maybe some gesticulations that way. I'm a little excited. You could probably hear it.
Yeah.
But I don't think that there's any other explanation other than this just hasn't been confirmed.
I mean, it is the one that makes the most sense. There are other explanations, but I mean, like, I wouldn't have said it if I didn't believe it, right? I think they would have let him say Madden if this were Madden. I don't think he's going to be a part in the revival of whatever the NASCAR video game is. Like, I fans or anything like that. No, your point about, and we've talked about this before, right? I told you that somebody that covers Arkansas told me Sam Pittman gets what a big deal it is that this game is coming back. There are coaches that know, like Deion Sanders when he started with Jackson State, didn't he didn't adopt the media partner he did by accident. He definitely gets that there is, or I should say, there is definitely a strategic reason behind every decision he makes. And this one, I think, is about as strategic a move as you can make, because it's not just about getting those kids. It's about getting their dads on board. I mean, how many of the kids that are being recruited have parents that are our age that grew up playing this game? And this is a big deal. This is a cool thing to them that Deion is in the game. Or at the very least, they will notice that Deion is not one of the people that said no to being in the game.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I'm pretty excited about this. Yeah, especially the cool thing is, like, they filmed this on Friday, this last Friday, the 20th.
Yeah.
It posted on Sunday, the 22nd. We're recording on the 23rd. Like, that's a pretty quick turnaround to get such a massive thing out there. The rest of the episode is, it has nothing to do sort of with that particular thing. But it's such a rare and cool insight. I'm not sure how much Electronic Arts was expecting a Deion film crew to come in.
Yeah.
And then Deion had to sort of find out, and people had to find out, hey, what can we say about being here? I'm sure there's some permissions there. But to be so secretive, and also for it to be clearly a feature that does not clearly exist because this is for an upcoming unnamed title.
Yeah.
I feel like it's going to be a huge explosion of awesome now that we know what this news is going to be. Everyone else is picking up on him just sort of playing or coaching for Colorado and, being cool with the hip hop game and things like that. And we're over here like, dude's going to be in the game, the video game.
Okay, you mentioned that clip was from Well Off Media. So everybody go find it. Maybe Arky put a link to it in the show notes that go up on the various social media platforms, because I do want everybody to see this and then answer in the comments on here on iTunes, wherever you're getting the show. You saw what they had to put him in to capture him. What coach are you most looking forward to finding out that's what they have to do after they've agreed to be in the game?
Yeah, when he's like, you see what I do for you kids, right? For the sacrifices I do. He's in essentially what is like this wetsuit, like tight suit with a whole bunch of balls. You guys are probably, video games. You guys have seen all the sort of the balls that are put on top of people in those type of suits to get their motion capture. Plus the camera right on top of his face to sort of capture his face, facial movements and such. Which again is furthering to me why I think it's going to be in a video game capturing something that's just his face. I do not think, with everything that's gone on around him, that there is any type of I'm an analyst somewhere. I think they want to get his face for shots like we've seen in the college football video game, which are the consternations, the joy, the excitement, the hoorah moments. And I think that's exactly what it is. Although there is one other explanation, and then we'll move on.
Okay.
In the video that you saw, which is over on the YouTube page, if you're not there, just search for a Dynasty Mode podcast on YouTube. The only video we saw of him moving looked like he was being given a field sobriety test.
So I think this is just something I think could be going on there. You're right. He can't move as well as he used to. I wonder if this is just if the program can see those limbs move, we can animate everything else. Because you saw that they had to have him move his leg a certain way, or his arms had to be pointed a certain direction. I wonder if that is just a matter of the specifics that matter are the face. Everything else we can animate. We just have to have the dimensions right for your body.
Yeah, or Madden could be getting super realistic.
And you can use a classic Deion in the game, but all he can do is stand like he was standing in the video. So you better have a play call that requires just that from him.
Or he's the only one that was close enough and willing to do the motion capture as if you were a coach in Madden getting pulled over for DUI.
Yeah, sure.
And you're doing the field sobriety test and you're going 1 foot above the other. I don't know. I think the answer is clear. I think Deion broke news. In fact, that's going to be the name of this podcast. Deion Sanders breaks news.
Yeah,
so.
And by the way, the answer to the question, which coach are you looking forward to finding out he has to put that stuff on, is obviously Brett Bielema.
Brett Bielema is the best and the worst all at the same time.
Yes.
Like there's so many times you just want to rub up on him and love up on him. Maybe not rub up on him. Just be like, this guy's the best. Like put him in, like get him in a headlock, give him a little noogie, right? And there's so many parts where you're like, hey, what you doing, man?
Yeah.
So Brett Bielema's probably the best answer.
I mean, it could be Dabo, right?
See, I think Dabo would find a way to bring it back to Jesus, which is fine.
I think so too, but I also worry he would worry that is actually stealing his soul.
See, I think someone like a Sonny Dykes would be interesting.
Sure,
like just an old, like he's one of the older coaches that just looks older too. Like looks like nothing youthful fascinates him or is interesting to him.
Yeah,
and him just being there would be miserable the entire time, which is the good part.
You bring up Sonny Dykes. I mean, the fact that Gary Patterson does not have a head coaching job right now really is too bad. And Scott Frost, who is like Gary Patterson. It's like a young person chose to be Gary Patterson at 63 years old.
Let me ask you this. Who do you think would enjoy it the most?
PJ Fleck.
Yeah. In a weird...
I mean, almost no doubt in my mind. However, I will allow for the fact that, and because he hasn't been a head coach as long, we don't know him as well. I will allow for the fact that it could be Dan Lanning.
Yeah, I think Dan Lanning, I know very little about him other than as far as what his personality type would be. See, I was thinking someone like a James Franklin would enjoy that. Like I would stand the big. I think James Franklin would take it and then just sprint everywhere.
I'm excluding James Franklin from this, and maybe I should exclude PJ Fleck from this for the very same reason. I would exclude the people that are excited about it because they recognize the branding potential, and just the person that would be like, "Oh, neat! I get to be in a video game." Like that might be a category of two, and that's Dan Lanning and Shane Beamer.
Okay, yeah, Shane Beamer is the right answer. Shane Beamer is the 100% right answer. I take all that back. Shane Beamer wins. Congratulations, Coach Beamer. You have won yet again. All right, so this podcast is all about celebrations in the video game, and the reason why I bring it up is because there was a story that was reported by TMZ Sports a couple of weeks ago. So this has been out there, but it's our first chance to sort of discuss it. Where when the Damar Hamlin situation happened a couple of weeks ago, or a few weeks ago now, on Monday Night Football, where he had to receive CPR onto the sidelines and much more. that EA Sports found out or sent out their feelers to TMZ, and TMZ confirmed that EA has said they were going to remove the CPR celebration from the Madden college, or excuse me, from the Madden NFL game. I'll just read this for you. A spokesman says now this was confirmed to now Kotaku, Kotaku. If you don't know that website, they cover video games in depth. EA Sports is taking steps to remove the celebration from Madden NFL 23 via an update in the coming days. And that's all that they had with that. The CPR celebration has been around for a while, Demetri, and I wanted to sort of use this as a jumping off point to sort of talk about celebrations in the college football video game.
Yeah.
The college football video game celebrations are, take it from someone who's currently playing it, especially on College Football Revamped, super basic.
Yeah, of course.
Super basic. Now, Madden has since added a whole bunch of ways to be able to celebrate. It's a whole different scenario. Yeah. So we know it has to be completely different when the new college football video game. But the old one, Demetri, really basic.
Well, and the other thing, too, is the college rules still allow you to throw a flag for an excessive celebration. And I guess, like, you can for an excessive celebration of the NFL, but you can still get away with a lot, right? Actually, I think excessive celebration is completely gone in the NFL, right?
I don't know. Like, if you're allowed to sprint from one side of the field to the other and, like, pose with the entire team, I'm not sure there's a penalty.
So my son is in the middle of a Madden career mode, and I was sitting downstairs last night watching him play, and we were chatting and everything. And if you score a touchdown, get a sack, tackle for loss, in some cases first down, like if you convert a first down on a fourth down or a third and long or something like that, you will get 4 options for celebration that you can have your guy or your team enact, and it is a lot of fun. I do wonder, because he is playing the career mode versus the franchise mode versus career mode, if very similar to dynasty mode versus road to glory, if there are going to be consequences, I guess, for becoming a known celebrator. I mean, celebrations do need to be a part of the game.
Yeah. Yeah, and they were before, right? But like you did not have options.
You didn't have options, and you're right. I mean, they were things like, you get a sack and guys would high five or slap the back of each other's helmets. Maybe you would get
sometimes someone does an army crawl.
Flex and army crawl. Maybe get a flex and a slap of the muscle, something like that. But yeah, I mean, it was not like in Madden, you can Lambo leap, you can have everybody get together and row the boat, you can do all sorts of weird, very fun kind of stuff that I'd love to see brought to the college game.
I think so too. But before we move forward with that one aspect of it, with the college football video game, I shouldn't say currently, but as the most recent as we've seen it, when you score a touchdown, like you can sort of dive in, but the dives all look the same.
Yep. Depending on your team, like if you're NC State, you can do the little Wolfpack symbol. You can do the hook 'em horns if you're at Texas.
Yeah. But all of that is completely outside of your control.
Yep.
And it's literally just if you press the button at the right time as you're crossing the end zone, this gets you the dive, so to speak. But the video game is going to go through its amalgamations that it has of pre-selected celebrations that it's going to do, which was I think pretty good at the time, right? Like to get some kind of celebrations, because there are a pretty decent amount. I don't want to poo-poo all over it. Like there are a ton of types of, there's a significant amount of types of celebrations, especially for stuff in the game after tackling, sacks, big catches, although those are fewer farther between. The touchdown celebrations you lost complete control of, and even in the game itself. And I tell you this, Demetri, if I had the option to be able to choose a celebration after a big sack, I think I'd play defense a few more times than I do.
Agreed. I mean, I think that that would certainly raise the appeal of playing a defensive version of Road to Glory, right? Because defense is already, on all EA football games, defense is already difficult. It is not as much fun to play defense as it is to play offense. You do have to juice the pot a bit, juice the game, make it a little bit more desirable in unique ways.
Yes.
By the way, I don't know why I didn't think of this. The coach we most want to see in the rig is definitely Kirk Ferentz, right? I don't know why that didn't spring to mind immediately.
Do you think it would just be like every other time we see Kirk Ferentz, except he just has balls on his head?
I mean, or could it be? This is going to be the whole episode now. Could it be Pat Fitzgerald being afraid that this is part of the deep state coming for him?
Listen, I don't think that's impossible. I think at some point, like he wants like aluminum foil all around the room to make sure that whatever information has come from those particular balls stays in those particular motion tracking balls.
Absolutely. Okay, back to the topic at hand.
Well, no, we don't have to. Well, we do a little bit. We want to wrap it up in a minute or so. I do think that the variety of clearly the celebrations, and most importantly the touchdown ones, because the vast majority of us are going to spend a lot more time on offense than on defense, has to be a lot more like Madden, where on Madden you're able to sort of choose, hey, do you want to be super cocky? Do you want to do it with your team? Do you want to be humble and give the ball to the ref? Which I don't know why you want to play a video game and be super humble.
I can confirm that is not an option on the Madden game I was watching yesterday.
So let me ask you this as far as the celebrations are concerned.
Yeah.
How do we get, and do you even want, sort of team-specific type celebrations?
So give me an idea of what you mean, because I mentioned that, if you played for NC State or if you played for Texas, even the old games had the team-specific hand thing. I'm guessing you mean something more than that. Are you talking about like what was it was the Alabama receivers of the 2019 season would do the paper, rock, scissors in the end zone when one of them scored a touchdown to decide who got the next touchdown? Like, is that what you mean? Or are you talking about, like, just walk me through what you mean exactly?
Well, specifically to the university itself. So like whatever your hand gestures or whatever are for the team itself, like if you want to do, as you mentioned, the Wolfpack symbol, or if you want to do the hook 'em horns symbol, or if you want to be at Oregon and do the big O with your hands.
Oh, sure.
Something like that. That you have these ones that are catered to your university, as well as, doing the gritty or something like that.
Now, let me throw this at you, Arky. If you are playing Texas, should horns down always be an option?
Only when you're playing Texas.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
I'm not sure how you do that, but like I don't know if you're Oklahoma against Iowa State, you need to be, just throwing. Oh yeah, they're coming up in 3 weeks. Horns down. Right?
That's right. That's right. Classic Iron Bowl. We just scored a touchdown action.
Right, and like if you're playing Louisville, like you can do L's down. You do the L's down for Louisville, because there's a few teams that have these stupid hand monikers that okay,
you got your Texas Tech, your guns up.
Yeah. Well, guess what? When we beat your ass,
guns down.
Yeah, they are not going up.
So I guess the team specific celebration, because we're talking about horns down as a possibility here, we also have to address the penalty assessment that would be going into some of these things. I'm all for whatever makes the game feel more realistic. And I think those team specific celebrations, and specifically things like getting a penalty for doing the horns down, are things that make the game feel like what you're watching on television. I want to see those things. I think they're an important part of college football culture.
I do too. I do think that the penalty should be a part of it if you're going to do horns down, since excuse me, that is a rule for some reason.
Yeah.
As long as that's going to be
for
a
2
thing.
more years, right?
Well, let me say this: if you're playing Texas, for example,
and
I want to pose this to you. You're playing Texas, get a big sack, your horns down, you get the penalty.
Yep.
I think also the percentage chances from the AI concerned of the next play against you being a big play, should increase.
I also think that there should be well, I guess it would depend. Like Madden brought the momentum meter back, so let's assume that the momentum meter will be a part of the next college football game. I think depending on where you are, I don't know that 15-yard penalty takes away from your momentum, specifically the kind of stuff that is mocking your opponent.
But let's just say, you have that penalty happen, right?
Yeah.
And you get whatever, if it's half the distance, 15 yards, whatever it is. I do think at least for a play, like that next play, you may look dumb pinballing off a running back, but he gets like 14 yards instead of the 4 he would have gotten.
Okay. So I thought you just meant that it would increase the chances that the next play was like a shot downfield, not it sort of gives your opponent a little bit of a boost.
Right. Just like it tends to be. Like most of the time when big penalties happen in games, you start seeing shifts in momentum, at least temporarily, even if it's for a few plays, maybe a drive, so to speak, where that penalty that you do, because let's face it, you're playing Texas. There's no way that if I'm given the chance to do the horns down, I'm not doing it every time.
Right.
Like that's just the fun part of it. So I also let it be a little to real life. You want to keep doing it? Good. We got a better chance to get 10 points on you.
It feels like it should also be, and this is regardless of celebration. I guess this would particularly come up on the offensive end, when you are playing defense, it would come up on the offensive opponent. However, I guess if you're a running back and you celebrate a touchdown with a big gritty or something like that, maybe there's a defensive version of this, but it should also lead to you being more likely to be double teamed or taken out of a play. That particular player.
Sure. And you know what? It should lead to some more altercations after the
Agreed.
Play too. A little shovey,
Listen,
shovey.
I'm glad the NCAA is not a part of this game, because I do think that if we are including celebrations like this, the consequences of those celebrations are beyond just a penalty, and they should be included in the game.
Yeah.
Or I should say the possibility of repercussions are beyond just a penalty.
You know who always takes taunting sitting down? Everybody. Everybody loves being taunted. And they just, you know what? Act like I've been there. I'm always acting like I've been there.
Give a hearty chuckle and say good on you to your opponent and move on to the next play.
I'll get you next time, fella.
That's right.
We'll square up next play, okay, fella? Okay. You keep mocking my team and you keep calling my mother a mother of something, okay?
That's right.
Fine. Next time, I'll just beat you fair and square, okay?
You son of a gun.
Yeah, you whip. Oh, man, you're such a... Oh, you cad. Oh, man. Oh, geez, love you. Just love you. Can't wait to... Just two guys just battling out for supremacy, huh? Just out here amongst our boys, huh?
Now, where do we stand with the in-stadium celebration? Like, you talk about the team ones, like the fans in Gainesville doing the Gator Chomp, the fans in Tallahassee doing the Tomahawk Chop. What are we looking at in terms of what our options are to get the crowd going?
I think first of all, I hate it, but we have to bring it because it shows up everywhere. The wave has to be in the game.
Yeah, sure.
We got to finally put it in the game. Like you don't have to like it. It just shows up. Okay. Yeah. No one told you to not make it a part of the game. So start making it a part of the game. EA.
Should it be one of these things that starts up if you go a certain amount of time without scoring a touchdown? I mean, like between both teams, not just one team.
Oh, the wave itself. Yeah, okay. Yeah. The wave should be like, well, it's been 6 possessions. And
that's right.
It's 3-0. This is you know what? Let's start the wave.
Yeah, exactly. That realistically to me seems like the situation in which the wave usually starts.
Yeah. And then in between plays, you just cut to the scene of the wave happening, and all of a sudden you as a coach on your offensive side, it's like, oh, hey man, we suck. Let's stop doing this. But yes, very infrequently do the wave. I do think the War Eagles and the Roll Tides and the Tomahawk Chops and all of that, I think that needs to be a huge part of the game. Right? So, like it wasn't really a part of the last game. Like it would feature, like the Eagle would get featured and the Boomer, right? But like inside the game itself, for the most part, it was cut to 7 or 8 dudes that are just high-fiving, a couple
with the very authentic looking blue shirt with a big white square with the Gators logo on it.
Exactly. You're like, this feels good. I love seeing this.
Looks real.
Yeah, but like,
I didn't even think about that. Like, what would it take for EA Sports to discover PNG files? Like just with a transparent background, so we don't have to put up with the square.
We can at least email them and see, like, hey, listen, this is what it looks like.
Right.
I can help you
out, fellas.
Right. So yeah, in stadium celebrations, absolutely.
Yeah.
Right. Like who is it that always goes like Florida, right? Florida does this where they'll take their cheerleaders will take like the Gators, right? Or
Yeah,
is it
that's Florida is the Gators, yes.
Yeah, thank you. They'll they have the letter on each one of these big flags, and they'll run one side of the
yeah.
You feel So we can have mascots doing push-ups like we did in the old game, or we can add more elements like that. We can add more elements of the cheerleaders going back and forth across the field after a touchdown.
So here's kind of specifically what I meant, because this is, I think it would be realistic in the sense that it does capture that team-specific celebration, but also not realistic in the sense that you don't often see this. Let's say you are playing let's say the most recent version of the game or the next version of the game. Let's say it was focused on this past season, right? And let's say you have Anthony Richardson break off a scramble and run 30 yards straight into the end zone, and he drops the ball and starts doing the Gator Chomp. Should you have the crowd respond to him with Gator Chomps back?
Oh my God, if you can. Yeah. I don't know what is capable, but again, we're all just dream shopping, right? Like
absolutely.
We're out there just walking across the boulevard, like, ooh, I like one of them too. How about that? Yeah, of course. If you can make it interact, the closer it can be to where the fans are interacting with exactly and reacting to, I should say, more importantly, what's happening onto the field, as opposed to just the sound up, sound down, as far as the roar of the crowd. Huge. Like, I think the EA's got to get better, and I don't play much bad, so I don't know if they've gotten this. But as big plays are developing, that sort of anticipatory, sort of yell that you get from fans, or when it gets louder as someone, breaks from a 10-yard carry to like a 40, 50, and here you go, all of a sudden he's free to the end zone.
Yeah.
It doesn't all have to be earthquake from Marshawn Lynch, runs. But, there are many, 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 many thousands of plays where guys just look like they're about to get 10 yards. They score through and they go for 60 to a touchdown. And the crowd just rises up with them. Like anything like that I can get with the game, I'm 100% on board with, because then I want to play with the audio on.
Yeah. Now, Arky, as we get ready to shut this down for this week, I want to throw something out to you that absolutely will be a part of the game if we include celebrations, right? In Road to Glory, there almost certainly will have to be some sort of acknowledgement of, if you do your signature celebration, your NIL money will come in a certain way. Like, hey, I'm Jeff Computer Guy from Coca-Cola. And if you do your crack a can celebration, an extra $3,000 could find its way to you this month.
Or if you had pretended like, hey, you know what? I'm Kevin from T-Mobile, right?
That's right. That's right. Give him the phone call.
You find a cell phone underneath the padding of the goalpost. Wink, wink. You want to give a call. Hey, it's $5,000 waiting for you on the other side.
That's right. I'm Jeff from Gentleman's Prostate Clinic. If you could bend over after scoring a touchdown and spread your butt cheeks.
Listen, it's for awareness. It's for awareness.
That's right. It's for awareness.
This is prostate cancer awareness. Well, at least it was over the summer. That's fine. It's fine. We're taking care of it now. Get it checked, people. It's a health
There's
thing.
never a bad time for awareness.
There's never a bad time for awareness. That's a good point. I think that's how we should wrap it up.
Yep. Know your hole.
Demetri, you just, if we hadn't already named this podcast, you just named it. So I'm sorry, that'll be the subtitle. The title, Deion Sanders Break News. Subtitle, Know Your Hole.
Know Your Hole. That actually is going to be the name of my chain of running back camps that I open around the country.
Oh my God, it would slay. It would slay. You'd make so much money. Can I just help with the signups?
Please.
Okay, perfect. All right. That's going to do it for us. Another great edition of the podcast is in the books. Next week, we'll do another one. But until then, Demetri, you should say goodbye to the good people.
Save and sip to next week, everybody.